Hi there and welcome back to the channel. So we have another video on our channel that is all about releasing your psoas, and a bunch of you have watched it. Thank you so much. I wanted to show that technique again, plus some variations, and then also show some very different releases that will help you with sitting all day. I could just lie here all day. So this is our favorite psoas relaxation exercise. We actually have another video that's been up on our YouTube for years showing this. And so what I wanted to do was show it again, but then show some variations and ways that you can use it to relax your psoas and then work on stretching your psoas after it's relaxed. First variation is legs up on a chair, not up on the wall like yoga where you're actually still having to hold your core to keep your legs from falling, but truly just letting them rest in the chair like this. You could do that for 5 to 8 minutes and let the psoas shorten and slowly but surely turn to jelly and relax. A variation, once you get that feeling good, would be to then bring your feet a little closer to the edge and let your knees fall apart, using the arms of the chair to keep them from completely flopping out and falling down. And this starts to get a very gentle stretch opening of your adductor muscles, which also can be very tight from sitting all day, but doesn't really ask them to open too much. And so they get to just chill out and soften and get used to stretching without feeling like they need to resist it. If I were to go into a very deep stretch like this, the muscles might react by actually tightening and not letting them open. And so I'm really just finding sort of a half open place for them and then just relaxing for another few minutes. And this will start to get the adductors to allow you to stretch them. So many times we sort of do a bunch of things to tighten up our muscles and then expect them to just want to be able to completely stretch open. And a lot of muscles don't like to do that. So it's much better to give them a few minutes to just soften without doing anything extreme in one direction or the other. Either extreme in the sense of tightening them really hard or extreme in terms of stretching them really far. So I do really love these sort of more passive relaxation exercises for muscles. And I think it's sort of a missing piece for us. So again, first variation, knees together, legs in about 90 degrees, just resting on the chair. Second variation, knees slightly spread, but not so far, and just chilling out and relaxing. So after we've done our passive psoas release with our feet on a chair, we can then do some light stretching. So one of my favorite stretches is this variation on a figure 4 stretch. There's this one that kind of everybody in the world knows, and it's not a bad stretch, but it does require activating a bunch of muscles to do it. This version is passive. So you take the figure 4 and you're going to think about the bottom of the top foot spinning towards the floor and everything from your pelvis down rotating in that direction while your rib cage and upper body stay flat. Kind of like that. Right, and the goal here would be that these ribs stay on the floor. Not everybody can do that. So if that's the case for you, you might want to use a pillow to prop up your leg and let it be a little easier. But this is a very great piriformis stretch and hip stretch and a gentle lumbar twist. So you get a little bit of a lumbar opening without it being really intense, and you get a really great hip stretch. The other thing about this is because it's passive, you can basically just hang out here for 30 seconds to 60 seconds and just enjoy it. You don't have to do much. And as with any stretch, you really want to make sure you do both sides. And so you can also stretch this opposite arm away to just help try to keep these ribs down on the floor. But again, you're getting this really great piriformis and deep 6 rotator stretch and a very gentle QL stretch and lumbar twist. This is what we call a peanut-shaped foam roller, and it is one of my favorite new self-care tools. It's super cheap. You can get these for like around $15 on Amazon. They're basically styrofoam, but to me, they're the perfect shape for a few different things. And I'm gonna show a couple different things with them. The first thing that I like to do is I have this at home right next to my couch, and when I get home after a long day, I'll actually put this on my chair and just sit on it, right on my sits bones. And this shape is wide enough to be really good size for exactly that. A lot of these double ball foam rollers are too narrow for that. This is like the perfect size. So basically I'll take this, put it on my chair, and just sit right on it. And already that starts to get all the attachments for muscles of the deep six rotators like piriformis, also some glute releases. And then once you get comfortable with that, you can actually do little sort of Caddyshack gopher circles on it, just to get all the different attachments of all these different muscles that are on your ischial tuberosities, which are the sits bones. And a little bit of this goes a long way. And, you know, if I just do this once a day when I get home, it just makes a huge difference. So we showed the other variation on your sits bones. The other thing that this is just exceptionally good at, unlike any other tool I've found, is rolling out your Spinae erector muscles, which are the really big ropey muscles on the sides of your spine. And so the way that I like to do this is you can basically put this right under your lowest ribs. You can do a little bridge and then very gently just roll up and down. And the reason I like this tool versus a traditional foam roller is that little scoop in the middle allows your spinal vertebra to just roll in between these and not feel like they're getting squished by the roller. Of course, it does make these little styrofoamy squeaky sounds, but you know. So first we just did straight rolling up and down. Once you've gotten some movement out of that, you could also then do little spinal rotations and work your way up each vertebra at a time. You might get some chiropractic pops out of the deal, which is great if they come, but don't try to make them happen. So another cheap and worthwhile self-care tool are these half balls. And I like these. I have a bunch of full balls that are also great for different things, but I love the half balls because they don't roll anywhere and they're shorter, so you can get into certain muscle groups without having to lift yourself too high up off the floor or put as much pressure on the muscle. And one of the best muscles to work on with this are your gluteus medius and your gluteus maximus, which are these small little triangle muscles right on the sides of your hips that get super tight from sitting all day. So this is kind of a nasty but worthwhile release. You can put this on the floor, roll your hip onto it. You want to make sure that you're between the greater trochanter, which is this big bone on the side of your hip, and your pelvic crest, which is the top of your pelvis. You want to be in the space between. And you can either lift up so that you're not putting as much pressure there, right? And what you want to do is you just find little points in that triangle that feel rough, lie on the ball, and then you can increase it by internally and externally rotating that leg on the floor, right? And so this might be more than enough pressure in there for most people. It's gonna feel a little awful, but then you're gonna thank me when you get up and stand around. Now, if you want more pressure, and I'm not sure I do, but I'm gonna show it anyway, you can lie down on the floor, and that increases how much of that ball is pressing into the muscle. And you can do the same internal and external rotation of the leg to basically pin and stretch the muscle over the ball. Now I'm going to do my other hip because you should always balance this out on both sides. So again, the first variation is leaning up that way with less pressure. And the next variation is to lie all the way down. That definitely increases how much you're feeling. And lastly, the internal and external rotation of the leg will even increase how much release you're getting even more. If you want either one of these really useful and not at all expensive tools, we have a link in the description below for an Amazon link. We do get a small little stipend from any purchases that you make. But I only really promote things that I think are really valuable to your self-care and that aren't super expensive. So these are two that are just at my home, at my office. Every single studio has these. I think they're great. Well, there you have it. Some great new stretches that will help you undo all the stuff that's happening to you when you sit all day at work. If you like these stretches and techniques, please subscribe to our channel so that you'll get notifications for all our new videos. And go ahead and boop that like button so that we can get this video up. And thank you so much. I hope to see you soon.